Okay, so I think I said Pound Town Palko.
Yeah, yeah.
What in the hell does that mean?
So do you want the real version, how I got Pound Town, or do you want the PG version?
We're all adults here, buddy.
All right.
Let's
all
not
right.
leave any
The real
questions
version,
unanswered.
The real
Yeah,
version.
yeah. I want to know what got you into the sport of arm wrestling.
All throughout school, I always arm wrestled, and even though I was smaller, I was always beating the bigger and stronger people for some reason. But I never knew arm wrestling was an actual sport.
All right, so let's switch over to your match here a bit. So let's say Joseph gets a couple wins out, and you're down 2-0. What should we, audience members and followers, why should we think that you're not out of it, that you can come back and win this match?
Yeah. If it comes down to a war and it comes down to grit, I am not losing that match.
Yeah.
I can't, in my head, going through the Rolodex of matches, I cannot remember a match that I stopped and it came down to a war that I lost.
But I want to know what the end goal is, because you have a lot of stuff going on now, big matches coming up. So why all this? What are we looking at here?
The end goal was to become the best arm wrestler I could be.
All right, everyone. Yeah, this is Clint Moehle. You know, I'm with Palko Arm Wrestling, and my buddy Kevin over here, Pound Town Palko, he's got a pretty big match coming up.
Yes, sir.
So I kind of wanted to ask you some questions that I think maybe our followers, subscribers might be curious about.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, and the legend. Maybe legend.
One day, Clint. One day.
One day. Okay, so I think I said Pound Town Palko.
Yeah.
What in the hell does that mean? Because I've been asked it a lot, and honestly, I want to know myself.
So do you want the real version, how I got Pound Town, or do you want the PG version?
We're all adults here, buddy.
All right.
Let's not leave any questions unanswered. Yeah.
All right. So in all reality, a couple years ago, I went down to Florida for the first time. I went to visit Jaden, one of our teammates, and somehow it came about to where, hey, let's go do some arm wrestling at University of Florida. As you guys know, we do a lot of public arm wrestling, and I think this was one of the first times that we actually did do it. So as we were out there, we set up the table in front of a bar, getting a bunch of people, and I'm just handling them left and right. And I think a guy in the crowd was kind of watching me do this. And he goes, "What's your name, man?" I go, "Kevin Palko." He goes, "Pound Town Palko, baby." And just from there on out, you know, the gears started clicking in my head. I was like, this is what we're going with. Like, I've been in this sport a long time, and I never had a nickname. So I'm going with Pound Town, baby.
Of course, it was that easy. Of course.
It was. They always say nicknames aren't given, they're earned. This one was definitely earned.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your honesty. Wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
All right.
Okay. I want to know what got you into the sport of arm wrestling.
Yeah, so I think just like a lot of our viewers at home or just people in general, we've all arm wrestled at some point, whether it was with our family and friends, whether it was at school on the lunchroom table, which I did a lot of when I was younger. All throughout school, I always arm wrestled, and even though I was smaller, I was always beating the bigger and stronger people for some reason. But I never knew arm wrestling was an actual sport. As I got into high school, I started wrestling, and to get better at wrestling, I actually started rock climbing. So from a very young age, I was already working my hands, my forearms, and muscles that kind of translate to arm wrestling. So I graduate high school, I get into college, and I met a buddy who noticed I always wore like rock climbing shirts. And he goes, "Are you a rock climber, man?" I go, "Yeah, I've been doing it for a few years now." He goes, "Well, my buddy is a competitive arm wrestler." I'm like, "No way." He's like, "I want to see how you guys go at it. You being an arm wrestler, you being a rock climber." So later that day, we go out to the college courtyard and we just grip up on the picnic table. It's me and Morgan Bremke.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you guys have followed arm wrestling at all, Morgan Bremke, he's been around for a long time. Not so much in it anymore, but he was good back in the day.
Okay.
So me and Morgan, we grip up, and immediately he can feel my strength. He's like, "Dude, you need to start training for this sport." So slowly but surely, I start going to their practices. Did arm wrestling as a hobby for a few years. I was still a lot more into rock climbing at the time. As I started getting better and better and better, I said, dude, I'm taking this arm wrestling thing and I'm taking it to the next level.
It's going to be your life.
It's going to be my life. Yep. I made that switch in my head.
Yeah.
Hey, I think this is my calling.
Okay. All right. On a side note,
yeah,
I want to know this. I was a wrestler in high school too. Division I was okay. I was nothing great. Of course, now I arm wrestle, and I adore the sport. Why is it that so many of our teammates and friends themselves were wrestlers in high school?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. There are a lot of wrestlers in arm wrestling, and I think what it is, wrestling is the ultimate 1v1 sport. When you go out onto that mat and you're in front of your opponent, it's just you and him. You don't got a team behind you that could possibly lose you the game. Your quarterback threw an interception. That's not your fault, but you still lost because of somebody else.
Right.
When you're out on the wrestling mat, you're only going to win or you're only going to lose because of what you did, how hard you trained, how much work and effort you put in. That's all on you. And I think with arm wrestling, it's the same thing. When you step up to that table and you grip hands with your opponent and it's just you and him, that's the ultimate 1v1 test of strength. See if you can get my hand down to that pad.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think with wrestling, it's the grittiness. To get through a wrestling season is not easy. You're fucking sweating, you're cutting weight, matches are grueling, you're not eating, you're feeling drained. It is a hell.
You got to want to do it, man.
Exactly.
There's endurance involved in wrestling.
Exactly. And there's endurance with arm wrestling as well. Not only on the table do you have to have endurance, but you don't even get good at arm wrestling for 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
So you have to have that grittiness to stick it out for all those years through the pain, all the matches that you lose. You might start arm wrestling and get pinned 1,000 times. You're like, dude, am I ever going to get good at this?
Right.
But eventually, if you have the grittiness and you can stick it out, you're going to get good at arm wrestling.
My high school coach in wrestling always used to call wrestling the Marines of athletics. What does that say about arm wrestling?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just like the Marines, the few, the proud, I think it's the same thing with wrestling. There's few of us, and we're all proud that we did the sport.
Right. Okay, great. All right, so let's switch over to your match here a bit. So let's say Joseph gets a couple wins on you, and you're down 2-0. What should we, audience members and followers, why should we think that you're not out of it, that you can come back and win this match?
Yeah, that's a good question too. And I think if any of you guys have followed my career throughout the past 10 years, if you've seen any of my super matches, you probably know that I can lose possibly the first round, maybe the second round. But I always come back. Grittiness, just like in wrestling, I have that grit. And I don't think there's ever been a match that I got into that comes down to heart. And, the person that says, I'm going to quit first, I'm never that person.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight, right?
Exactly.
You got those big forearms, like Ingen said. I think he called you a little guy.
That Michael Todd did.
Was it Michael Todd? Yeah.
No, but I think that's what it is, man. If it comes down to a war and it comes down to grit, I am not losing that match.
Yeah.
I can't, in my head, going through the Rolodex of matches, I cannot remember a match that I stopped and it came down to a war that I lost. So even if I go down 0-2, 0-3, I can still come back, win 3. We can go to the silver bullet, and I can still win that match.
All right, well, let's try and not do that 0-3.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
The key to victory is going up 4-0, me taking home the win.
All right, good deal. So let's switch topics here. There's no secret. You have a YouTube channel that I've been helping you with. You're the star of the show. We focus everything around arm wrestling. But I want to know what the end goal is, because you have a lot of stuff going on now, big matches coming up. We have a big emphasis on safety. That's part of it too. So why all this? What are we're looking at here?
Yeah, I think when I first started this sport, when I realized I was getting better and better, the end goal was to become the best arm wrestler I could be. I remember my first goal was to win Michigan State. Not the biggest goal in the world, but for some reason for some people, that's a huge goal. If you can win Michigan State, that's a big deal. I won Michigan State. I got the Golden Gorilla. After that, let's try to win nationals. I ended up winning nationals twice, 2-time national champion. Um, After that, I continued on to worlds. Let's see how I do against, world competition. Took 4th place. So I think the end goal is to still become the best arm wrestler I can be. Um, I'm grateful to have the opportunity with King of the Table. I want to face the best of the best, and that's what I'm hoping. As far as the YouTube channel, the way that started was I wanted the lightweight arm wrestlers to get some recognition. Everybody, including myself, we all love Devin Larratt. We love Levon. We love the superstars of the sport. Toddzilla. Lightweights weren't getting any recognition. Before me, obviously Engin Terzi is one of the best lightweights of all time. And, just social media was not big when he was dominating the sport.
Right.
So as I starting my YouTube channel, I'm like, let's get some recognition to the lightweights, not only for myself, but to grow the sport. I always bring it back to the UFC. In their early days, the UFC didn't even have a lightweight division. And then slowly but surely, we started getting stars like Clay Guida, Diego Sanchez, and now Conor McGregor. Those guys built the lightweight divisions, and look at how big of a star Conor McGregor is. It's crazy.
Right.
So, and then obviously the YouTube channel kind of evolved. As you guys know, myself and Clint, we do a lot of street arm wrestling. And that's where we started seeing a lot of growth in the YouTube. Subscribers went up, viewers went up, and that's still an end goal as well, is to show this sport to as many people as we can, get as many people involved in this sport we can, and obviously grow the YouTube channel at the same time.
Yeah, great. And it's all coming. It's all coming in. I mean, you got the 2 big guys. You got Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall.
Yeah.
Let's keep those big dudes safe on the table.
Yep.
Hopefully, they have fun and they continue to bring in the audience.
Oh, for sure.
Anybody can do this sport, Kevin.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it as long as you learn it the correct way.
And it's hard to believe that guys like Eddie Hall and Brian Shaw, these dudes are at the top of their game in the strongman community, have millions of followers, and here they are in arm wrestling, and they want to try their shot at it.
Pretty damn cool.
That's fucking awesome.
It's pretty damn cool.
It is.
All right, so you've been doing this for 10 years. You've traveled around. You got to meet some pretty cool people. You practice with Toddzilla every week. A lot of guys. If you could tell me, I see these guys on television. They all kind of seem like they're dedicated to the sport. They're into that match. What's it like off of the table? How are they?
Yeah, so over the past 10 years, I've had the fortunate opportunity to train with some of the best arm wrestlers in our community. Obviously, I train with Todd Hutchins almost on a weekly basis. I've trained with Devin Larratt, Michael Todd, some of the best guys in the United States. And I will sit here and say that every single one of those guys are the best dudes you will ever meet.
Okay, well, that's good.
Even though they are the stars of the sport, each one of those guys will take the time to pull me or you or the new guy. Hey, come over here. Let me show you what you're doing wrong. Let me show you how to do this. And that is what makes this sport and the community so awesome.
That's why it's the best. It's like that even at every level. It's like that.
Right.
Just nice people.
Yeah, and it's not like football. You can't just walk onto the football field with Tom Brady and Tom Brady go, hey, kid, let me show you how to throw this touchdown. Yeah. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. No, go through the 4 or 5 agents, and then you can meet with them for a second.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just hope, along with those other superstars, I hope I'm that same role model for people that look up to me.
Okay.
I don't want people to be afraid to come up to me and say, hey, Kevin, can you give me some advice on how to do a hook? I will gladly show you how to do it.
Is there a puller or two maybe that you've never really met and got a chance to work with that is kind of like on your bucket list?
Yeah, so I think the biggest one would be the GOAT, John Brzenk, the greatest arm wrestler who ever lived. I've met him twice. However, it was kind of just in passing, shake his hand. Hey, John, good luck on your upcoming match. I look up to you. Obviously, you're the best.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that I think John might know Joseph, your opponent.
He sure does.
Yeah.
And I think if John were to give me some advice, he might be like, hey, Palko, stay out of that hook with Joseph because I can't move him. But John, I'm a little bit good in the hook myself.
Yeah,
So
I think you better be ready for it,
yeah,
Joseph.
we'll see what happens there. But not only John, but I think another guy would be Daniel Prokopchuk. He's widely renowned as probably the best 154 possibly to ever live.
Oh, all right.
He's from Romania, same stature as me, height, weight, but somehow he has incredible strength. Probably the strongest pound for pound guy I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've never heard of him before,
Yeah.
but it sounds like it's somebody you want to learn from.
Oh God, he's a monster.
Okay. All right, cool. So you're going to love this next question. And I want you to be honest. If Joseph pulls this off and you lose, when we're all watching, what does that mean from that point on for Palko and Palko arm wrestling?
All right, you had to bring this one up, right, Clint?
Yeah.
So first off, I'm not going to lose, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not going to happen because there's always a possibility that you can lose. Obviously, I think I have a lot bigger reputation than Joseph does. I have a lot more to lose if I do lose, you know. You just have to keep your head up.
That's it. Just keep going forward, right?
This is the biggest opportunity that I've ever had, and it's the biggest opportunity that Joseph's ever had too.
Yeah.
But if I lose, I think it's going to be a lot more embarrassing to me than it would be if Joseph loses. So you just got to keep plugging away, man. Don't let it get you down. Keep training hard, and hopefully King of the Table calls you back, and
keep the nose to the grindstone.
Exactly. Jump back on the bandwagon and get to it.
Okay, but so I got another question.
As I iterated earlier, I'm not losing this match.
All right, I got about one more question here, and then I'll let you give some final thoughts. So, look, there's always going to be some people that are rooting against you. Maybe they don't like you. That's fine. No big deal. You're allowed, you're entitled to your opinion. You have rooting interests. What would you say to your friends, family, teammates, supporters, subscribers? What would you tell them that they could do to help you throughout your career?
Yeah, so going back to some people might not like you, that's the start to becoming a big star.
Okay.
Because if everybody likes you, that's usually your family, your friends. You might have a little bit of fans that, hey, I like this Palko dude. But as you start growing and getting bigger, obviously some of those people aren't going to like you. Hey, Palko, your hat's stupid. You wear it up too high. Look at them stupid glasses and that stupid turtleneck.
Right.
Obviously, there's going to be people that don't like me. But that's totally fine. As far as my fans and the people that can support me, the way they can do it is first off, buy this King of the Table pay-per-view. This is my first opportunity to be on pay-per-view and the biggest opportunity in my career. So log on to Core Sports, buy this pay-per-view, and support me.
Okay.
Other ways to do it, I guess, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Obviously, I am starting to get paid by YouTube. So the more people that view it, the more money I start to make.
Right. And we're always looking for sponsors too.
For sure.
Because we're still going to do the public arm wrestling.
Yep. And if you want to support me, support my sponsors. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Because the people that support arm wrestling is what keeps this going. So I do want to give a shout out to a couple of my sponsors, which would be Grip Arm Sport, widely renowned as the #1 clothing, accessory, arm wrestling brand on the market right now. They're the biggest sponsor for East vs. West, King of the Table, and most competitions in the United States. So please head on over to griparmsport.com, buy your merchandise, buy your straps, support arm wrestling. Also, kind of a local sponsor, but if you guys are anywhere in the Northeast Ohio area, Reliable Basement and Drain. If you guys need any kind of plumbing done, basement work, those are the guys you need to go to.
Great. That makes sense. All right, so we'll finish this up right here. Final thoughts. Anything you want to say to Joseph or to anyone out there?
Yeah, so Joseph, this is a message straight to you. As much as I like you, and I can't say one bad thing about you, you're a respectful guy. You've always respected me. I respected you back. Granted, we put a few memes out, kind of poking each other back and forth. I'm going to take you to Pound Town, having fun. It is what it is. The day of the match, the respect goes out the window, at least for the time that we're face-to-face. When I'm on that table, it's wartime. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to win that match. When the match is over and the referee raises my hand in victory, we can then shake hands and be friends again. But yeah, for the time being, when we're gripped up and we're in war, respect goes out the window, and I'm ready for a war.
All right, those are some pretty good expectations. Let's see if you can fill those shoes.
Hell yeah.
All righty,
Let's
buddy.
do it, Clint.
Good stuff.
All right.